Hello everybody! Welcome to another Valheim video. Today I actually just want to give you an update on Enigma because it's almost ready and it'll launch soon. So what is Enigma? To put it simply, it's a rework of the existing assets in the game that is designed to make it last longer. It generates a southern path, or rather a path that leads to the south, a path that leads to the west, a path that leads to the north, and a path that leads to the east. But Enigma is a lot more than that, and it's designed to work on any world, whether you make a new world or you use an old world. So what I've done here is I've loaded up a version from backups. In the chat, it'll say, "Welcome to Valheim Enigma Mode," because Enigma actually reshuffles the locations in the game, so it gives you a chance to leave, you can move around. Nothing's going to happen yet. EWP is automating some of the setup that the player would normally have to learn how to do using Upgrade World, but then they don't even have to know about Upgrade World at all. As you can see, that's what just happened. If you're on a new world that you generated with Enigma installed, then it'll only take 20 seconds or so when you first go through that phase. But if you're on an old world where you installed Enigma afterwards, that process will take between 1 and 5 minutes, depending on the size of the world file. After some time, you'll get a chat message saying that the installation is complete and to exit, and you'll also get a message in the middle of the screen. This part isn't technically necessary, but it helps clear up the RAM. Usually once you load back in, everything's just fine. So here we are, we're back close to the center of the world, and we just have a message, "Welcome to Enigma Mode." That's it. So what you do to activate it is you go to the center, and then that's when everything changes. It removes your start temple, and then does this nonsense. If we look around, we can see that there's these 4 paths that are forming, right? Let's keep going down the path and see what happens. If it encounters a player base of any kind, it'll actually make the base pieces invincible, just in case it changes the terrain, that way they don't get destroyed. Let's keep going down. The first time I showed this, one of the commenters made a very good point. People are just gonna run all the way to the Ashlands, isn't that gonna mess up progression? And at first I thought no, but I actually underestimated something. I underestimated just how much fun people would have running down the path. Now that I've had it live on Palm for a while, I see that people actively will just keep going. I thought they'd see something interesting and get off the path and explore. They don't do that. They just want to keep going and going and going. So every now and then the path will stop and it'll demand a tribute of treasures. If you look in your chat message, you'll see that the Enigma path stopped near the meadows and demands tribute of 2 piles of coin. Now if I build them, boom, it asks for 1, and then boom, look at that. We paid our tribute, and then the path just keeps on going. So this is how the path limits itself now. And as the path continues, it's going to stop and ask for tribute 9 times before it ends. Each time, there's a chance that it's going to ask you for more tribute. So we just paid 2 of them, right? Look what happens next. We'll need to keep exploring, but eventually we'll get to another one of those checkpoints. Once you reach a checkpoint, there's a chance that it increases the cost of every checkpoint afterwards. And we can see here that this checkpoint is now asking for 3. But I'll let you on in a little secret because you're watching further into the video. Yes, it could be coin piles, but it actually accepts some other treasures. You could also make a treasure chest. That counts. Also, some more abstract things like an artisan table. Boom, that also counts as a tribute treasure. And you can learn about the eligible treasures by playing Enigma Mode, because it actually has features that will educate you from time to time, like little secrets that you learn about. And that's the basics of the path limiting feature. Instead of just having the path go entirely to the end of the world without stopping, it actually stops a bunch of times, and this prevents an early progression player from being able to just run to the end. Let me now show you what I'm finishing up before it's actually ready for people. The banking service. So if we go to our locations and we make it list all of the Dvergr banks, we'll see that we've added a new location here called Dvergr Bank. You would actually find these banks out in the open world, and then it'd be like, okay, what's this giant fortress-like thing? What's going on here? And there's some stairs you can go up in here, and then you go down here and look at that. It's the bank, and it's filled with stuff, and the banker is stealing the coins. That is not what I intended. Try to ignore that. That's an accident. They're supposed to be decorations, but he's thinking they're players' coins, and he's like taking the bank's coins. We gotta leave the bank first, because there's gonna be a new ability that people have. And there's a little bit of a culture here, let's say, because the Dvergr bankers are supposed to be really, really greedy, and sort of the player dislikes them and kind of feels like they're stealing a bit. But that's kind of the vibe, okay? So like the player finds out because they build like a coin pile or something, right? And then they inevitably punch it or swing their sword or do something on top of it, or maybe build another item. I don't know, I'll figure it out. And then it disappears and they get a message saying it went to the Dvergr bank. And then it's like, all right. What's really happening is the server's storing information about how much treasure the player has accumulated. And then the player has the option of finding one of these banks and then basically going there. And then there's going to be like, I don't know, some kind of button or something. The physical banks will allow you to withdraw coins that you've accumulated anywhere in the world. And I think this will help players pay those tributes once they've progressed a lot of the paths later on. As we mentioned earlier, we want the players to feel like there's conveniences, but also to kind of get frustrated by the Dvergr bankers. Like, they're super convenient, but they're also like stealing our money. That's the idea, right? So they're gonna find these places and they can withdraw their money, but there's actually another service that I'm gonna make as well called Magical Withdrawal. You'll be able to withdraw from your Dvergr bank account anywhere in the world without being close to a bank. Here's the catch though. The greedy buggers are gonna take half as a transaction fee. So for you to summon one pile of coin anywhere in the world from your account, you have to lose 2 piles of coin from your account, okay? But that only happens, that tax only happens if you use magical withdrawal, which you can do anywhere in the world. If you want to get it at its actual value, then you have to find these Dvergr banks, which spawn in a variety of different places. Here we can see one in the meadows. I know they're intense and intimidating, but there aren't that many in the meadows, maybe like 2 per server or something. Here's one that's in the Black Forest. From the player's perspective, it'd be more like this. They're going around in the Black Forest, they see some lights and some odd kind of pillars, and then boom, there's another bank. They also show up in the mountains, as you can see here, and also in every other biome in the game except the oceans. And that's it. This is pretty much the last thing that I'm developing. Now I'm almost done. Once this is ready, it's just a matter of figuring out how exactly I want to package it, right? And that won't take that long. So now you know how Enigma is going and that it's almost available. So if you want to access it, you can actually play what it is right now on Path of Magic. It's just one version behind, but you could also just wait a couple weeks and it's going to be available for you all to try. I'm excited. It's been like a year of working on this project, so it'll be cool seeing what people do with it. Enigma is a project that is designed to get people interested in scripting and help them learn how to do it. So I'm really excited to see how people react to it. I don't think it's going to be super popular, but I think that the people who do enjoy it are going to really, really enjoy it. And with that, I bid thee adieu. If you want to support my work, then consider supporting me on Patreon or renting your own dedicated Valheim server to set up all of the beautiful Expand World Prefabs magic. You can do that at my link, zaphosting/jpvalheim, and I'll get some credit there. They give a lovely little kickback. I love working with Zap, and I host POM, Path of Magic, on Zap, so if you want to play, you're playing on the very service that I advertise as well, which helps me stay away from all these dirty YouTube sponsors. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.